So when it comes with wrestling, it can be a lot at times. Like even now, like coming home after a wrestling show, then you got to wake up 4 a.m. and go to work the next day.
Right.
And then, you either go home and spend time with family, or you go out and you train with the guys. You train and work on your craft. And then you go back home, and then like they're already asleep, and you repeat the cycle. So it's like something's got to compromise, something's got to give in that area. And so when you learn how to work with it, when you learn how your family works with what you got, it can work out in the best way. It may not be how like everybody else wants it to be,
Right.
but it's what you have and what your family has.
All right, there he is. There's Jay Sky. There he is over here. How are you?
I am well refreshed. I lie. I'm not well refreshed. I'm doing good. I'm up.
So, I mean, one thing that I noticed is you've had your time off with injury. Like, what were some of those moments of reflection? And how long were you out of action?
8 months.
Oof. That's a long time. That must have had a long time for you to think and really stew what you really want to do next at that point.
Well, I kind of had no choice. I had no choice on that one. I wouldn't even say it's a bad thing. I think the surgery came at a very good time for me. Basically, I see it as like God telling me like slow down, buddy. And so right around before I got the surgery, or after I got the surgery, I had my son with my beautiful wife. That happened like a couple months after the surgery. So then it made me more aware of like what to do, what things are more at hand now. You know what I'm saying? So I guess with the time off, with me studying wrestling matches, as well as my peers' matches and favorite matches of my own, I think with the birth of Isaiah also gave me time to really like, woosah.
Yeah.
Just with the surgery, because like I'm like a dog with a bone. So like as soon as if I want to get back, I'm going to get back. But luckily, I had my wife and my son, bringing me back to where it's like, you don't have to go overboard. So yeah.
Because like what I was thinking, because you had that promo coming in over at APW, and you did not skimp around of just watching the product.
No.
Yeah. What was the one thing that you got to learn more as you're having this time off the ring?
Like for myself, or as
yeah, for what you're going to do when you have your body at close to 100%. What was some things that you had to really learn and look for when you do go back in the ring? Like, hey, I have this, and all right, I'm going to apply it to what I'm going to do when I do come back in the ring.
Yeah, I mainly studied everybody that was already there, as well as people that's around in the Texas scene. So it's not just only AAPW. Seeing how people move and how they, hold themselves or present themselves as a character, I think it is very important, as for any male or female, that comes into this business. Like, you gotta set yourself at a standard. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So for me, being on the shelf is like you watching everybody else move forward while you're just sitting, you're coasting. And so now it's more of like, okay, how do I want to present myself? How am I going to make myself either different than how I was before, or how can I make it, mean something when I come back, or mean something now? And so like for the time that I was there, whether it was in training class, motivating the beginners and the intermediates, I would talk about being hungry. And I mean that. I stand on that because of, like my father, he was big on that. And as a kid, being hungry, I didn't really understand it or, took it to heart or what it meant. But when, with the life changes that I went through, it basically enhanced it. And it was like I was at a good spot. I was in a good spot before I, was told that I needed surgery. And then now you go through the surgery and then you're rethinking and you're reliving, but it's not more of like, oh, dang. It's more of like, oh, I got it.
Yeah.
And you're basically like trying to work and enhance it, figure out ways to, better yourself. So for me, I feel like that's what the question that you're asking, that's where I feel like I'm going.
Because one thing too, and you mentioned it, to have a family and being a dad now.
Yeah.
And how has your perspective changed? Now, how did that perspective change to now that you're having the future in front of you with Isaiah?
It's very hard. It's very hard, but it's very easy at the same time. Like if Isaiah was here, like my wife and my son was here, it would be just, I know what I'm doing. But like even when I'm like away, it's like, dang. It's like 50-50.
Right.
So for me, with that, I would say you're not on the same wavelength as like other people anymore.
I see.
So for me, I have a lot more responsibility. I'm big on taking care of my family by any means necessary. And, sometimes there's going to have to be a compromise. Yeah. And then at first, I remember certain people were like, oh, don't have a kid. And, it's what they're saying is a preference. But, I'm blessed I'm glad that I have my son. I'm blessed that I have my wife with me. And it's changed my perspective in a way to where more mature and just like I said it before, a sense of awareness, how I feel like for me, I've become more sharper and more precise with my movements or how I make my moves with life, because, it's not, at the end of the day, it's not just me. It's me, Isaiah, and my wife. So it's like every move that I got to take, I have to make sure, it goes along and it works. So when it comes with wrestling, it can be a lot at times. Like even now, like coming home after a wrestling show, then you got to wake up at 4 a.m. and go to work the next day.
Right.
And then, you either go home and spend time with family, or you go out and you train with the guys. You train and work on your craft. And then you go back home and then like they're already asleep, and you repeat the cycle. So it's like something's got to compromise. Something's got to give in that area. And so when you learn how to work with that, and then when you learn how your family works with what you got, it can work out in the best way. It may not be how like everybody else wants it to be.
Right.
But it's what you have and what your family has. And I feel like for me, sometimes it becomes a battle between the people that are outside and then the people within family. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
because you have a sense of responsibility.
Yes.
Because of course it's another person, it's another mouth to feed, but you sense the reward because now you're seeing what's ahead and where Isaiah's heading. Of course, it will take some time, and when Isaiah gets to that point of like he knows that the person that he looks up to. Yeah. And now you're like, okay, I think I've done my part. And that's every parent's dream and wish, is to say, hey, my dad did a good job. For sure. Yes, for sure. Yeah. I'm just overall, I'm just trying to, be the man that God wants me to be, as well as, how he wants me to be as a husband, as a friend, as a father, and nothing in life, it comes overnight. It takes time and it takes work.
it's crafting. It's like molding clay into a masterpiece. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you know, for anybody that's out there or like, you know, having a family or has a family that wants to do wrestling, I would say, you know, communicate and then take one day at a time. Go for it.
Yeah.
So,
and we're going to talk about your time in the ring too. And throughout your time, like, has AEPW been kind of like the majority of where your career is once you graduated there?
Once I graduated.
Well, I mean, I say the academy. I was like, maybe it's a graduation, but maybe that's the thing. But like,
no, you're good. Yeah, that kind of put it on halt just with the surgery. I was like in mid move to getting that graduation, and that stop it. So,
okay. It was a screeching halt at that point.
Yeah, as soon as that surgery, everything stopped. The
I see.
graduation stopped. The title reign stopped, and I was just like, okay.
But even still, like, even when you're still you're under training, under hiatus while training, like, has APW been kind of like your bulk of where your career is to start with?
Yes, I would say that wholeheartedly. Pops has definitely, you know, helped me understand how, you know, the game of wrestling works. But one thing that he'll always tell me is that I can't teach you experience. So when you go out, and you got to make a move. So thankfully, you know, Inspire and Baracho, I was able to work on their platforms. But yeah, my body of work so far has been at AAPW. And I do plan to stretch out. That's my goal.
Okay.
I want to stretch out. You know, whether that's working all over Texas, of course. Like my main goal, I would love to make it to a top promotion like in the next couple of years.
Yeah.
But realistically, you know, I'm also keeping that other side, and like if it's not meant to be, then I'll see what is able to work. I mean,
yeah. And like, what was the one thing, whether you're working with the beginners or the intermediates, like what makes APW such a big environment to learn your craft in wrestling?
For me, or just like
Not for you. I mean, like for you, or in general, like how has APW been kind of a good growing environment for you, not only as a wrestler, but as a person too?
It's definitely it shapes you up. It's a family. I'll put that even there. Like we'll mess around and we'll joke around whenever we want.
Yeah.
But when there's times to be serious, you know, I know there's people. I know the people that I can go to.
Yeah.
Be real about, you know. So, but when it comes to like work, putting the work in, yeah, they'll give it to you. It's literally APW is it's one of our footwork is on point, precise, and that's one of the things I love that I inherited, because like the way I see wrestling and how I move is like it's directions, angles on point. You gotta be here,
Yeah.
and so on and so forth. And they capitalize that very well. Pops has definitely helped Primetime be Primetime. Like he basically was like, he's like, look, this is what I got right here. This, that, and a bunch. And it's like, I can either hold your hand and do it, or if you got some, run with it. And I told him, I was like, I got it. Just let me run. And he was like, you tell me what you need me to do, and I'll go. And that's pretty much it. So that I will give Pops his due, big time.
And to go out into past APW as well, do you remember your first time going to a promo outside of APW?
Yes.
Yeah.
Inspire Pro Wrestling. It was against I think it was either Slim 7 or Chris Cruz. I think it was Slim 7. Slim 7.
Okay.
So,
I think it's Vin Parker now. I think that's his name now.
Yeah.
It's Vin Parker. Okay.
Yeah. I worked with him. Very, very rough, stiff match. It was a very stiff match. I remember, I think I messed up my ankle.
Oh, no.
That match. It was either my ankle or my foot, because I remember the next day I was trying to go to work and I was like, I can do it. And then after like we started climbing ladders, I was like, I can't do it.
it's like I tried.
Yeah, and I was like, no, I'm going home. You can pay me while I'm at home. So, but yeah, that was my first match with Inspire. Yeah,
Because like learning from APW and carrying it over to Inspire, how much of that has been pretty much stuck with you when you worked at Inspire at that time?
Oh shoot, I wouldn't even put it up to now. Like it definitely helps because you working with the whole, when you're going out and you're traveling, you're working with different people. So their style is going to be different from yours. So you're going to have to always going to have to learn how to adjust to where it works all the way around. So I think that's one thing that, AAPW capitalizes on and makes you aware of is that, we're going to make sure that we're precise in these. So whenever you go out and you work with all these other guys, you already know how to make this like this, that, and a bunch to where you are on point. You are precise. But, like I said, it doesn't happen overnight. It takes time drilling that in to where it becomes just muscle memory. And you can just go out there and work with anyone, to be honest. So.
And now and you were back a few weeks ago, facing American Eagle, and being back in the ring and knowing that, okay, it is gonna be prime time. This is gonna be your time.
Yeah.
When you went out of the curtain and seeing the crowd for the first time in 8 months, and seeing them say, "Oh my God, prime time is back!" Like, what was that feeling like seeing the audience for the first time?
Nerve-wracking.
Really?
Very nerve-wracking, but it felt good because it was like before coming out, it was just like, yeah, this feels good. A lot of pressure.
Okay.
Because it was like, I'm working with Eagle, and matter of fact, this is a whole different Eagle. This isn't Ethan Hunter.
Yeah.
I'm facing this man, and yeah, I would just say it was like a little difficulty because it was like you're coming back home, and then you have this sea, not a sea, but like this bunch of fans there. And
wave, let's say wave. Wave would be a bit. Wave would be a good.
Okay, yeah, wave of fans, and then now you're finally stepping in the square circle after 8 months. It's a lot of pressure, and then you're wondering like, okay, I'm not trying to mess up my shoulder here. Can I still go? And eventually, once I came in those ropes, everything just cleared. It just cleared, and it was just time to go.
Yeah. So like it just took time because it's basically like getting your sea legs at that point. And once you got through the match, when did it start to click? And you kind of mentioned it earlier in the conversation. Like, when did it start to click? Oh, okay, I know what I'm doing.
For like me coming back to like, oh, I got the.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
I would say as soon as that jackhammer hit.
Mm-hmm.
Once I
had that picture. Yeah. That's right.
Once I hit that jackhammer, that's where it was just like, yeah, I've got this. But it's a different I've got this because it's not like how I was before. So this prime time is like, it's just a slight difference because I have to be more cautious. I have to be more aware, right? So how I move, it's like every match now to me is, it's still try something new, but more of how can I top the next one, but still be cautious of my body.
Yeah.
So
because you're listening to your body at that point too, because like you're at that point within that 8 months, you're listening to your body too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And it like literally anything can happen at any moment. Like that's what happened the last time. So all it took was one swoop.
It's like it's over. It's like, oh, there it is.
Yep. It pops out that fast. So
Because then after that too, and you mentioned Ethan Hunter too, and how much I've had him on before too, which is kind of nice seeing this conversation go full circle. And you faced him twice. Now, granted, like it was hard. It was very hard to go through, but to overcome disappointment at that time. And hopefully we'll have that over on the 9th with the drag show over at APW. How are you going to prepare yourself?
We will see on that one. I honestly, if we're able to run it back, then you you better believe I'm gonna get my title back. Like, I'm gonna just be real with it. I want my title back, and I feel like with me handling loss now is more I guess you can say obtainable.
Okay.
To where I'm just like, okay. And then I'm more, like I said, I'm way more precise than where I was before. So it's how can I correct these errors to where I won't make that mistake again. So.
And it's just fine tuning. You're fine tuning
everything.
Where you're learning from where you left off, going in your time out of action and ring.
Yes, everything. And I have to. There's no exceptions, because it's like, the way I see it is that one more injury and that's it.
Yeah.
So I no exceptions. Like, I have to be on my game, on point every single time. And then that's where we go back even more to the other question. It also ties to, something's got to compromise.
Mm-hmm.
It is like, if you go this far, then expect this, and that. But if you go this way, then expect this, and that. So it has to be a balance.
Yeah.
Because if one side is off, then you break.
Yeah.
And then you snap.
Because it's like, you're doing something in one direction. Nope, I won't do that again. If you know something, it's like, okay, let's keep it going. And let's keep it going. So with the year being almost over, and what are you looking forward to for the rest of the year?
I honestly would like to finish off very strong. Last year I had high hopes before the surgery. I really wanted to work with, I had like a whole list of people, and I still do. I really wanted to face Shelton Benjamin at one point. I feel like I was good enough to be at that point. Exodus, Epi. I have it's a long list. Me now is more of I have an uphill battle, and I want to close this year out with more progress on that uphill battle, to where I can get back to where I was in a sense of level of confidence. I'm still confident.
Yeah.
But there's a hurdle of, fear, and then self-doubt, and then all negativity. You know what I'm saying? Working your way up that hill. I just want to be able to, get enough matches in for the rest of the year to where it's like, all right, I'm over that hill. Now let's go. Let's run. Because once I feel that confidence, this is not going to be my issue anymore. So that's, yeah.
Yeah, because because I did see a lot, and I was fortunate to see your comeback too. I think the last one was Inspire. That's the last time I saw you. Like, where do you go?
Yeah.
It's like, where do you go?
Yeah, and there was a match I was really excited to be a part of, and I feel like that would have been like a very good match. It was supposed to be with me versus Danny B.
Wow, that would have been a banger.
I would have been. I was excited. I was like, ooh. I was like, okay, yeah, I like that. Let's see where it can go. And then, nope, you're getting sick.
It's like, it's over at that point. It's over. But also, like, now that you have this, now you have a family, and it's not an end of the year goal kind of a thing.
Yeah.
What can you improve now that you have this family? How can you improve as a father over time? Of course, it's not a perfect road.
Oh,
of course it's not. So like, what are some things that you would like to improve on
as a father?
Yes.
Okay. I have a lot, actually.
Okay. How much time do we got?
Oh, no. It's not that long. I'm going to sum it up. I would say that just being able to have more time without feeling like a restriction. Trying to make more time to where it's like free. Like I don't have to, it's like I have time and then, I got to go. I want to have time and just enjoy time and cruise it along. But, I can't do that all the time. So I would say time.
Quality time. That would
quality time. Thank you.
Yeah.
Quality time. And then, going out more with my family.
Yeah.
Being able to go and experience the world. I mean, he's not even one yet, but I would still like to go places. And if I don't have to work outside of wrestling, I would love to travel. And then as for my wife, be able to have more date nights.
Okay.
Just one-on-ones because like he's still young. All I can tell, grab this, grab that, drink that, drink this. So it's not much I can really do with Isaiah. He's such an amazing son. He's his characteristics is just out of this world. And then with my wife, she's an amazing mom, fantastic mom, a woman of all traits, and she's pulling it off. I feel like we're all working. So
yeah,
I would say the majority of the rest of this year as a father and then as a family as a whole, quality time, just more quality time.
Prime time, as some would say.
Yeah, that's good.
So I'll end this conversation. Thank you so much for taking the time for this conversation. And I'm gonna ask this whenever I end this conversation. And if you were in the same room as an adolescent you,
yes,
what would you like to talk to him about, or what advice would you give him in life?
I would say, honestly, I feel like I've been saying it all night. I would say, honestly.
It's fine.
I would say to that part of myself, do not worry about what other people say. Do not worry about what other people say. And go with what your gut says. Trust in the people that you have around you. And then trust and believe in yourself. Because the only person that's going to stop you is you.
Right.
All this other stuff that's around you, you can, it's a give or take. So you can take it, but if it doesn't feed or help you, why have it? You know what I'm saying? So I would say, don't worry about what other people will say. Continue to work on you, work on your family, do what you need to do to be successful. And understand that it's always going to take work. And Dad didn't lie. Mm-hmm. That's pretty much it. My dad didn't lie. Hard work pays off, and you got to be hungry. So I'll just leave it at that.
Like, what are some things that are just like, what were some common questions that you've had, at that time? What were some of those questions that were kind of holding you back, but you knew that you're more than those questions?
Before wrestling, or like just in
life in general too?
Ooh, that's a deep question. Okay.
I will go from brook to ocean quick.
I appreciate that because not a lot of people do that. I'll go deep with you. The younger me is very different from me that I am now.
Okay.
And I feel like for me, when my dad passed away, life started to really take a turn in the sense of me being my own man, and then also trusting in God to, I put my dad and God on the same pedestal. I'm supposed to do that. So I feel like that God had to take him away from me so I could have my own connection with him, because he already has his own connection with my dad.
Right.
So now for me, it's like, I have my own relationship with him. And it took time. It took time with me and my wife, because it was like a whole roller coaster. So if I had to tell myself, my younger self, with that, just keep being consistent, which I did, because in the end, a big blessing is going to come, Isaiah. So, with losing my dad and, putting my faith and my trust in God, it's a roller coaster, but that he tells you beforehand, it's like, yeah, it's not going to be all sunshines and rainbows. It's going to take work.
Right.
But you just got to stay consistent. You have to press on. And so that's where I would say, like, just a little bit of that area, continue to press on, because whatever God's going to do, he's going to pull you through it. And he's pulled me a lot of low moments, like very, very, very big, depressing moments that it could have been worse.
Yeah.
And so, like, I didn't even think I would be blessed to do wrestling. I didn't think I would be blessed to be in a marriage. I didn't even think I would be blessed to have my son at the age of 24.
Right.
And then, like, if you would have said that to younger me, it's like, huh?
It's like, what?
Yeah, like, I don't know about that. But because, like, before I met my wife, or before I had my son, like, I was living a total different lifestyle. And for me now, it's more of, like I said, it's just sharpening. Iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm sharpening myself, but I also got my wife sharpening with me too. I got my boys sharpening with me too, to make sure that knife is on point, to where when it's time to go,
just a straight shot through.
Straight shot, don't miss. That's been so important to me, as well as God. I put God at the number one forefront. Like, he's the one that has helped me, for a person that's lost his father. Mm-hmm. It's hard for, like, I have relationships and connections with men, but it's hard to fill in that role when, like, the only physical version I had was my dad. Mm-hmm. And so now it's like, no man can really fit that role outside of God, because he's the one that's given my father, and he's the one that's given me life. So I'll say that wholeheartedly, with all confidence, that, he's the one that's helped me.
And you sense the roots once it takes hold, that every circumstance, it may keep you rocky, but you sense the roots just holding in, and it grows. And once life's storms come in the way, those roots, and having this relationship with God and holding on to those roots, that's going to keep you together. And fortunately, you have a family now, so that's one of the fruits that are coming out of that.
Facts.
Too.
You got to have a strong foundation, and, like, being with God, he gives me that strong foundation, and nothing's gonna stop it.
Right.
Because it's like, it's a force, and, like, literally, like, me and Julia we'll talk about all the time. Like, we're one, all of us. It's me, my wife, God at the forefront, and then we have my son in the lower middle. But
right.
Our main focus is on him. So whatever he wants us to do, we gonna push through and do it.
Yeah, and it's a union too between, and it's this relationship and this union, and you knew where you're going to go to, but then you realize, oh, okay, God has something more in store.
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah, and that's where, yes, that's it. Because literally, like, bro, when we talk about time away, that's it. Because it was like, it's a huge shift, because, like, my mind was so consumed of wrestling, and, there's nothing wrong with having a passion.
Yeah. But
when you go on, like, on a spiritual level, it's like you got to reevaluate.
Right.
You can't. God is a selfish God, so you can't have that over him. So it's like, I see it as like God is like, okay, now I'm gonna take this away from you just for a little bit. I need you to get into being in this area and this area. Focus on these areas, and then when the time is right, I'll give it back. That's how I feel about how.
Yeah, you see the perception of life when that happens, and it's this process of like pruning, because it's one of those things where the prune gets cut, it'll hurt, but that vine will grow into where it needs to be, to what the vine grower is supposed to be. So if it's left unchecked, it's going to look like a warbled nest, and whatever fruit that comes out of that warbled vine, it may not grow as what's intended. It's grown, but it's not to where it's needed to be. But when it's pruned, when it's cut, and where it's grown where it's supposed to grow, there you see the fruit.
Facts. Yeah. Perfectly on point, man. Like, oh my goodness. Like I can go on and on.
Oh my goodness. We'll be here all day. But I don't want to put you any further. And I will say this on the record. I was going to say when we're going to end recording. You are episode 50. Of the episode.
5-0. Let's go.
So for those who are watching, for those who are listening on the podcast, 50 is not an easy episode to get to, but here we are. And I was thinking about it too, where I had other guests on, but I'm like, and hearing your story, and I was checking through a lot of what you're doing on your wrestling career. I was like, let me give it a shot.
Yeah.
And not knowing this whole conversation was going to turn out to be something that's great. It looked a little rocky at first, but then when we got to,
I just didn't know if I could go out, because I'll go out loud. But as soon as you open that door, I was like, all right, I'll go in.
Oh my goodness! So, but you are episode 50 on this episode, and I really want to appreciate your time, because I do hang out at the academy. And seeing how you're teaching the beginners and the intermediates and the seniors, and how much Pops has been giving you so much, and all the coaches with Law and with Warsaw, and how much they're giving you. And it's like, you know what? This deserves a spot. And I thought a lot about it, but I was like, you know what? And I've seen you on your in-ring stuff on your return. I was like, I'll give it a shot, not knowing here we are.
Yeah, here we are. Number 50.
So, but I had nothing left to give. You have the floor, and where can we find you on socials?
You can find me on Instagram at PrimetimeJSky, and Facebook as well as Lionel Warren. You can reach me on emails at primetimejsky@gmail.com, or so on and so forth. TikTok too, PrimetimeJSky.
So we'll end our conversation, and we're going to be on 51. So hopefully we'll get 50 more episodes down the line. But for those who are watching and listening, thank you so much for tuning in, and we're on to the next one.
Have a good one.
Bye.